So I've had this WJ for a few years. Pretty sure I semi-rebuilt the motor, probably heads and pistons, and just had it sitting back trying to figure out what I was going to do with it. And I've did burnouts with it. I've drove it here, I've drove it there. I literally pulled it right here yesterday evening. No problem. Never, ever since the motor rebuilt, never had trouble. It is the 4.7, by the way. But I pulled it right there, and I went to pull it in last night to clean it. It just simply wouldn't start. So I don't ever know where these videos going. If y'all follow along with me, we'll see. We can figure out why it don't run. For those of you that follow me, this is going to be my daily driver. I'll explain that at the end of the video because some of you are probably confused by it, but it's not a perfect Jeep by no means, but it'll get there. But pretty much all I can show you is it doesn't run. I haven't checked the check engine light. I don't think that usually don't tell you enough to diagnose why it's not running. We'll leave the key on. I'll show you one of my little simple tricks. Let's get the hood up, figure this thing out. All right, if you follow me enough, it's gonna sound like I'm repeating myself, but basically got a system I go through to just narrow it down to exactly where it's at. And one of the simplest ones that gets you in the right direction is, well, two, is check the fuses, number one. I'm gonna educate you on something right there that you might know, but it's very, very helpful. Save you a lot of money. And if you've ever seen, I just take a relay, bust the top of it off, and now you can literally just squeeze right there. And, well, let me just show you. When you plug it in, and if you're holding it, it'll do that. So just push it from the top. Now, as you're working on it, keys on. I'm trying to get it to start. No start. But real quickly, there's one called ASD, and it's auto shutdown. Why they named it that, I don't know, but that basically turns on the needed sensors, supplies them with volts to make them work, that kind of deal. So that's basically the light switch for the motor, but the computer has to see signal from the crank sensor to turn all the sensors on, I guess is the sense. The crank sensor is supplied by the computer, PCM, and then all these other sensors are supplied by the ASD. They receive the ground from the sensors. Kind of confusing, but just know that ASD and fuel pump, they come on together. So if you lay your hand on them and spin it over, if it sees signal from the crank sensor, that means that the crank sensor is working. You may be able to hear it. They'll come on, they'll click and turn back off. That way the fuel pump's not just sitting there running the whole time. Doesn't leave all the sensors on. But that means we got crank sensor. I highly doubt we got all the coils bad on a 4.7. We'll start simple and just check fuses. Hook your test light to a ground. And then I'm just gonna go down through here and check all these. And when I get to the one, I'll show you the important part. Well, the first one. And the big ones, you just have to visibly look at them on a WJ. So here's the tricky part. Remember I was just speaking about the whole ASD coming on with a key? Usually there's two 15 amp fuses. One of them I think is injectors, yep. And then one of them's labeled O2. Now, I'm sure they go to other things than what's just specified. But like right now my test light is on one side. You can see it. Surely y'all can see that. So if you was going through there testing them and you seen it didn't come on with the test light, you would probably just think, well, maybe it's for headlights or something not used, but that one's good on both sides, so it's good. I could tell a story on that. Watch the guy spend thousands of dollars because he wouldn't listen to me. That's good. That one's not good. Hope I don't kick myself for how I started the video. But a guy wouldn't listen to me and he replaced fuel pumps, PCMs, all that, and wound up. Why the fuse blowed, I don't know, but that's what it was. Hopefully this thing just needs a fuse, and I started a useless video. Alright, grab another fuse. I would like the thing just to fire up, just be a randomly blowed fuse. Nope. I think I just heard it pop. So it's bad. Let me study for a second. Alright, so I've popped a handful more fuses. Know that there's actually a problem. And that's what's so weird is I literally have been driving this thing forever. But that sensor is for the O2 sensors. So I'm thinking I'm just going to start easy and unplug them. Maybe one shorting out internally or something. Never really seen that, but as easy as that is to do, I'll give it a try. It'll start with no O2 sensors. So I'm going to unhook all them and see what it does after that. So this one's got an O2 sensor. You can see it hanging down. There's one on this side of the block right there. And I don't think I have light to show you. Somewhere right along in there at the transmission, there's two. So I've got them all unplugged. And if this fixes it, it'll crank up. And then I can start plugging them back in and figure out which one's popping the fuse. It's be easy. So now they're unplugged. Let's grab another fuse. So luckily I know a guy with a bunch of fuses. Ironically, editing this video, I just put these on the website. It is bags of fuses. I may change the price, but I've got like tons of bags and a box full of them, and I got a whole lot more. So click over on to that website, and there you go. Maybe it'll just fire up. We can plug them in, pop the fuse, change O2 sensor. Good to go. So no O2s, should fire out. Let's check the test light. Dang it. I just sat there and watched it spark. So another bad fuse to add to the list. Let me think. So it's obviously sending positive voltage to the wiring harness, and something is grounding out, popping the fuse. That's what I took my test light and kind of figured this would work, but on this side it's grounded out. So something is grounded out, and I got to thinking, it's got to be in one of these harnesses right here. So I'm going to unplug them and then check them and figure out which harness it's in, and maybe I can figure out where the short is. That's so weird because it was just working just perfect. I literally drove it in the shop. Now it's shorted out. I'll just unplug them one at a time and check. Big black harness, big black plug. Still grounded out. I think this is honestly the O2 sensor harness. Well, I think it's the receiving end from all the sensors. So same thing, still grounded out. There's only this one left. It's the wider gray harness. Aha. So there's some wire in there. So now I'm going to put a good fuse in. I know it's not going to start, but that shouldn't pop no more fuses because it's not connected to the bad harness. I'm going to go ahead and plug the other ones back up because they shouldn't affect anything that I know of at the moment. Alright, so I got those three. Now I've got to figure out which one it is. Do this. Remember, it don't come on unless the motor's spinning over, so... Oh, about forgot to move my test light. It's good. So got a good fuse in. So it's not popping now that it's not hooked into the harness. So that means somewhere in the harness there's a short, I reckon. Maybe a mouse or... You know, it could have melted because the last time I drove this thing I did a massive burnout. Okay, so let me find this. Oh, there's one. But I also wonder, let me make sure there's not another one. That one's all the time. Probably turns on with a key. Oop, there's another. But what I'm wondering if one of those might be the auto shutdown. I'm not real familiar with colors on the WJ harness. So what I'm gonna do, I know it's this one in the corner. I'll show you in a second, just in case somebody at home's, well, I can grab you now. So I don't have quite enough hands to do this. I'll try the best I can. So that one comes on with the key, and then the second one on the top row right here comes on with a key also. But I wonder if that's coming from the ASD or possibly the fuel pump. So what I'm gonna do is remove that fuse and figure out if one of them quits getting power. Moved you in a little closer, let's check. So no fuse in there now. So it still comes on there, but one of these should not light up. Look at there, that one don't light up. And this one does, okay, so that is right. So I'm gonna leave this in here. Does not light up. Guess I'll break this where y'all can see better. So it's in there, does not light up. Now I'm just simply gonna add the fuse and see. So that is our wire that we need to figure out where it's going and why it's shorted out. And to believe it or not, Dex does not have a bunch of fancy wiring diagrams that people probably assume he does. Usually don't get stuck with wiring issues like this. It's what these things are known for, like crazy wiring. But honestly, I think it's usually something stupid simple and they just get known for wiring issues. Let me do some studying. I may go on my computer and look and see if I can find a wiring diagram or something. I'll figure it out. It's got to run. I'm out of vehicles to drive. I'll go over this website at the end if I can remember, charm.li. It's a free website that has all these diagrams, but I've searched around and found this is the fuse we're blowing, and like I just said, it gets turned on by the auto shutdown relay, and then it goes out, and evidently it's got a splice. This goes to the oxygen sensor relay, turns it on, and then this goes, I reckon, into our harness, and I have not dug any deeper. Real quickly, I'm just going to go out there and pull the oxygen sensor relay out and just see what happens. Nope, I ain't gonna waste my time because it didn't do that until I undid the white harness. So yeah, kicking myself in the butt, but at least I remember something. So now, this is where it splits. I've got to figure out, go to that diagram. So we need 35, figure out where the orange dark green wire is going. So let's back up. I said, oh, this is free. It's the one I haven't clicked on. So there's our orange dark green wire. Now let me study that. It's, well, it appears it just goes to both O2 sensors. So I don't think I want to break down this entire harness. So what I might do is cut it and figure out where it's actually shorted out and then just make a bypass wire. So let me go out there. I'm gonna study on this a little bit more and then we'll go see if we can find a place to snip and just bypass and go around. And I could just drag the harness out and like try to pinpoint it, but this should do the job just the same. One thing I was thinking about, to be completely honest, I'm pretty sure I've run into this on 4Os, and that fuse will be blowed and it still runs. So that's gonna suck if I go through all this trouble. I mean, I still need to fix the short regardless, but it may not fix it from running. I wish it did, but I don't. We'll see. So that fuse is supposed to turn on, or be the power, or turn on one. What did I say? The O2 sensor relay. So I'm gonna pull it out, make sure it's not shorted out there. I mean, I already know it's not because I'm pretty sure it shouldn't be. But just check there, and then I'll find a place to cut it, see if we can pinpoint our short. All right, so off camera, I know between this plug, somewhere it goes in and splits, comes this way, feeds this front O2 sensor, and then goes back around and goes down and feeds that O2 sensor. That one wire splits and feeds both the front O2 sensors, and then the back O2 sensors come off the relay. I looked that up on the diagram. So my best guess, I was thinking somewhere back here, some mouse chewed a wire or something, I don't know. So I cut it here first, and it was still grounded right there. So that one I can just put back together. That was a check. And then ironically, I cut it here, and I was expecting to touch the wire going back towards the back of the harness, and it's not. It's the wire going down to the sensor. So that's only about 16 inches of wire, and pretty sure I said after the first of the video, the last thing I did with this thing was a huge, massive burnout. So I wonder if it did just melt the wire. I could just bypass it. I'm gonna try to find it just out of curiosity. That's what I know. Y'all don't care right now, but you see my lift. I got my lifts took apart. I'm redoing my floor. That lift took apart. So camera angle may suck, but I'm gonna try to get under there, find it, and then I'll show y'all. I feel like a freaking pilgrim with this floor jack. I ain't used one in like 10 years. So again, I apologize if the camera angle isn't no good. It's just what I'm working with. I found the problem, but it's not really what I was expecting. If you look right there, it's kind of hard to tell because the wire itself is orange, and then the copper itself is, you know, kind of orange color. But those are grounds right there. Evidently something has just deteriorated the rubber right there. So all I'm gonna do, I may bust that open. Oh, sorry about your angles. I may cut this open just to see there ain't nothing crazy going on, but I'll probably just get this plug, cut it, and just run a new wire back up there, and we'll be good to go. So I've got wire to fix that one there running down. I did plug the O2 sensor back up. Can't see this one. I just butt connected it back to where I messed it up. Haven't plugged that in yet. The only thing I can think is maybe when that deteriorating wire maybe is touching the ground for the computer to the O2. I don't know. All I'm worried about right now is it not blowing a fuse, so let's check that out. Key is off. I'm going to reconnect this plug right here. Squeeze. So no fuse. We've got a good fuse. Just going to have faith in it. So now I'm going to turn the key on. Maybe it won't pop the fuse. Let's see. Hey, it's staying on. Well, that's different. Is that one staying on? That's kind of weird. Now these fuses are staying lit up. See what it does. That's not good. Oh, I got them hooked up backwards. Dummy. Camera makes a fool out of me, I swear for goodness. So there we go. Comes on with a relay. This one comes on with a relay. So now why is it not running? If this is clicking, it's got spark. No freaking way. Idiot! Stupid. No! So this Jeep has been sitting. When I got it, it had been sitting. I redid the motor. I had to do a fuel pump. Hold up. Stop it. Oh my gosh. So, after I did the motor, I'm a hack job, so I cut the floor out, changed fuel pump, got the Jeep running, and it's been sitting for another few years. Again, I drove it right up here, parked it. I've been driving it for years, and it was starting to rain, supposed to storm, so I was like, let's pull it under the shop. Go out there, it's raining, you know, pretty good. I'm trying to crank it. It won't crank. I was like, you know, what the hey, just move on. So I'm sitting there dreaming what it could be, and my first initial thought was fuel pump. So I don't have the Bible app on my phone, I'll be honest, but we'll just pretend I do. I lay my hand on the Bible. You will never catch me in a lie the next morning, I was sitting there dreaming. I was like, I bet the fuel pumps went out again. So I go out there, and I've got this same exact relay. I plug it in, and I go back there, and I hear fuel pumps working. So wasn't gonna do the video at that time, so I just put my regular relay back in, and I don't even think I tried to crank it. So went about my day, started doing stuff. I was still dreaming on what this could be, and that's where I'm at. So I swear for goodness, it wouldn't crank that night. The next morning I test the fuel pump, because that's my initial thought. I heard the fuel pump working, pulled it out, put the regular relay back in, come back to it, just make sure it wouldn't run. Oh my gosh. But on the plus side, that needed to be fixed. I mean, they will run without O2 sensors, but it had to be fixed. So I think I did say at the start of the video that even if I fix that wire, I don't think it'll. And that fuse will be blowed and it still runs, because I've seen them run without that fuse anyway. Oh my goodness gracious. Let me fix the fuel pump. Like I said, I'm a hack job, so I've got shortcuts right there. I'm gonna try to give it a little tap, see if it'll come on. If it don't crank after that, I don't even know what to say. Gonna say the fuel pump is no good. Nasty. Yuck. Look at it. Nasty. I think that stuff gums up the brushes in the motor, and then once they wear out past that, they can't like move out anymore. Let me fix that. Probably fire this thing up. Kind of hard to see sunlight, but I spilled a whole bunch of gas, a lot of gas. Like, it don't look like it, but a lot. Whole Jeep's covered. Most definitely, you can see all the cluster. I mean, check the fuel pump out. I just put that thing in a year or two ago, I think. Yeah, that's Bosch, that's not OEM. It's got my big fan running, 91 degrees. I'm gonna let that gas evaporate, and then I'll see if I can make a fool out of myself. Alright, let's see if she'll build fuel pressure. It really needs fuel pressure to run, so if we can get that, that'll help out. Yep, we got fuel pressure. My prediction, if I turn the key on, it'll crank right up. Fuel pump comes on with the key. Should be in park. Here we go. We'll see if it'll crank with a key. Man, what a story. Well, I feel like I owe y'all an apology, but I don't honestly think I do, because I did show you exactly what I was chasing after, and that was a problem. I just was kind of stuck on this blowing fuse problem and wasn't paying attention to the other stuff. And all the diagnostic ways I just showed you will pretty much carry over to a 4.0, and I'm going to say 96 and newer Chrysler, to be honest. You do the same thing. So I hope you learned something. Give me just a second if you care about why this is my new daily driver. I know some people probably was just here to learn, but I'll explain that when I get my mess cleaned up. If you're leaving, have a good day. So confident, I'm gonna shut the hood. Said it was. Said it was. There we go. Guess I need to shut this door too. Come on, Blue Jeep. Well, it backed out of the shop, so that's a plus. Go take it for a ride. Alright, there's like 10 different reasons that I'm driving this Jeep. I don't like these electric seats. Let me go show you the first one, then I'll start stacking them up. Whoa. Whoa. I like it. So if you didn't know, my dad does appliances, semi-retired, but he's got a Toyota Tacoma, and well, the transmission went out. So if you're familiar, they are borrowing my daily driver. So he's got it, delivering appliances out of it. He won't admit it, but I think he likes it. But there's more reasons. So that is going to be my new daily driver. Carbon copy of the one I just showed you. But you can tell I'm still working on it. I'll say majority of people know that it's going to have a turbo, but I'm still working on it. So I've had this one stashed back for a while. I knew what I was going to do with it. I was just waiting for a time to need it. 10 different reasons. It's two-wheel drive. So I daily the 4.0 and it gets right between 19.5 and 20 miles a gallon. But I've never had a two-wheel drive 4.7 to daily drive. So I'm curious where that's going to fall into place. Then, it's a pretty decent Jeep. It's a limited edition. So I've never converted a two-wheel drive transmission, the 45 RFE, to four-wheel drive. So that'll be a project. Obviously, it'll get a lift and tires. That'll be like years. Well, yeah, probably honestly years from now. Playing with this thing, but that's why I just needed a daily driver for now. And then everybody keeps asking for more WJ content, so those seats don't work. I gotta fix that. Just had trouble with the speedometer not working, and the transmission wouldn't shift, so that'll get figured out. So as soon as I get this shop back operational, probably get that Jeep in the shop, do some cool stuff to it. Until I go flat broke, I don't see me running out of content. I've got, golly. As long as I just keep working on Jeeps and y'all keep watching them, we're good to go. So that's it for now. Have a good day. Thank you. I hope you did learn something too.